Welcome to an example in which we're solving this word problem. An investor has found two investments that he wants to invest in. The first one pays 8% per year, and a more risky investment pays 19% per year. He has $53,000 to invest and would like an annual income of $7,760 per year from his investments. The amount invested at 8%, 9%. There's the answers already. How do we get that? Well, notice it says here, from the words, write two equations with two letters and solve. So let's do that. I'm going to let X be the amount invested at 8% and Y be the amount invested at 19%. So he has $53,000. So the first one plus the second one must add up to be $53,000, right? Those are the two. He has $53,000 total. So however much he invests in the first account plus the second, that totals his whole $53,000 he's going to invest. Now, the income part's a little more tricky. How do we do that? Well, the X makes 8%. So 8% times X plus the other one makes 19% Y equals $7,760, right? Because, if he had says, however much he invests X at the 8% account, he gets 8% of that. So 8% times that amount invested, say it's $10,000 or whatever, 8% times $10,000, which would be like $800, plus the amount, or no, that'd be $8,000. No, 800, anyway, whatever. Calculate that. So you multiply, that's the amount he's going to get out of that account. 8% of times the amount he invested in the first account plus 19% times of the second totals $7,760 per year he gets. So there's our two equations. Now, we could solve them by hand. We could. I'm going to go ahead and use a matrix to solve, but you could do it by hand. It's okay. How would you do it with a matrix? Well, you would make a matrix first off, and I'm going to go, there's a 1, a 1, a 0.08, and a 0.19. Right, I just grab the four numbers times XY equals, and then the right side is the 53,000, 7,760. So I turned these two equations with two letters into a big matrix equation. This big old matrix times the letters equals that. Now, how do you solve that? Well, you solve it exactly like you would solve, oops, there we go. Exactly like you would solve, I'll just say it's like 2 times X equals 7 or whatever. It's like solving that. Just with, you have a number times a letter equals a number. We have a number matrix times a letter matrix equals a number matrix. How would you solve that? You might say, well, I would just divide by 2 on both sides and I would get X alone. Right. And dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by a half on both sides. And what is a half? That's the inverse of 2, isn't it? Right? 2 invert is half. And that would do what? That would cancel these out. You get X alone, and over here would be your answer. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. I'm going to multiply both. You do the inverse on both sides. So that'll get this alone. So I'm going to do the inverse. I'm going to sneak in the inverse right here. Inverse and the inverse right here on both sides. These cancel each other out. You get the XY alone. And over here, you're going to have the inverse times that matrix, the 53,000 and the 7,760, and then hit the buttons on your calculator, which I'll show you in just a second. That'll be the answer. So inverse times this, the inverse of this matrix, the inverse times that. See, the idea is just like 2 times X equals 7. Go back to our original equation. You multiply both sides by a half, which is the inverse of 2. These cancel out. X is alone. There's your answer. So I multiply, take that matrix, multiply with the inverse of that matrix on both sides. So if you do one side, you got to do the other. Cancels this out. XY is alone. There's your answer. So I'll go to Desmos now and do that. Here we go. Okay. But now you know where to get to Desmos, right? On our home page, there's the matrix button. Click that matrix button. You can use this even during an exam. The matrix calculator for Desmos will pop up. And I'm going to go, okay, new matrix. And I'm going to put in that first matrix, which is 1, tab 0.08, tab 0.19, hit enter. And the second matrix would be the one on the right side, say new matrix. One on the right side was 50. Oh, wait, I got to get that. It's got to have less. Yeah, that's it. Make it straight up and down. 53,000, tab. Oh, did that wrong, didn't I? Go back up there. There we go. 53,000, tab 7760. Enter. And now what do we have to do? We have to take the first matrix, A, and then hit the inverse button, times the second matrix, B, and there's our answer. Look at that. 21,000 and 32,000. Those were, in fact, the two answers. That's X and Y. That's the amount at 8%, the amount at 19%. There's the answers. Now, you could have solved these two equations with two letters by hand. That's okay. Matrices are nice, though. So you just put in the first matrix A, put in the second matrix B, then take A inverse times B. It's exactly what we do in numbers. And there's your two answers, automatically 21,000 and 32,000. There we go.